Hello, hello. I'm REBL Risty with REBL Labs AI, and we are here today with Brian Davis, who's going to talk to us about some different investing opportunities, or at least a different way to look at how you can invest your good hard-earned dollars. Well, Brian, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, thanks, Rebel. Thanks for having me on your podcast. My name is Brian Davis. I'm president of Independent IRA. I work with a self-directed IRA custodian called AccuPlan and American Estate and Trust, and we help people that want to invest retirement funds in things outside of the stock market. So things like real estate, notes and loans, investments in private companies, even things like precious metals and cryptocurrency. So I work with people that are either raising private capital and their investors want to utilize retirement funds, or help people that already know that they want to invest in those types of assets and do so within their retirement account and do so the right way. And I've been doing this since 2009. I've been with this custodian that I associate with since 2012, and prior to that, I was in real estate loans, and so I do a lot of these same investments inside of my retirement accounts, whether that's my Roth IRA or a solo 401k that I use.
Oh, wow. There's a lot to digest in there, especially for somebody who's never maybe even heard of this or kind of heard about it but don't really understand. Can you break that down in layman's terms of like what exactly is it that you're doing and how can somebody also do this?
Yeah, so a lot of what I'm doing is really just education. Educating people that let them know, hey, you're not limited to just investing in what's in your brokerage account IRA, which is generally stocks, bonds, ETFs, annuities that people go to an insurance company. So there's IRA custodians like the one I associate with that will hold other investments that are allowable under IRS guidelines. And you have to be an IRA custodian to hold those assets. And that's what who I work with. And I help people walk through those. So there's rules about like self-dealing with these retirement accounts. You can't loan yourself money or your own company money or your parents or kids, those types of things. So I help walk people through the process of showing them, hey, do you have a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA? Are you interested in how to invest those in something you might already be investing in with personal funds like real estate? That's why real estate
Hmm.
traditionally has been the most popular asset class within self-directed IRAs, especially when I've been in this space since 2009. People buying rental properties at the time, but prices of real estate, especially in Southern California, have gone up significantly. So I see a lot more people, using their money as the bank, whether they're lending money to people that fix and flip real estate or investing in, like I've said before, some private real estate funds. I show them the process of doing so. I'm not a financial advisor or investment advisor. I don't have investments for people. I show them how they can do it themselves, hence the term self-directed IRA and my company's moniker of independent IRA, showing them how to do it and let them do this on their own. And if people want to go outside of the traditional asset classes of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, there are options out there, and I can show you how to do it.
That's great. And what would you say is like a key benefit of doing a self-directed outside of the, traditional asset classes?
Really taking advantage of your own expertise or friends and family's expertise that you know and trust, that you were like, oh wow, these people over here are doing really great on these real estate investments. How can I get in? Maybe I don't have a ton of personal cash sitting around, but oh yeah, I have a old 401k or IRA over here that I have no idea what it's doing. And so
Yeah.
when you're able to get out of those asset classes that you might not be as familiar with, and and maybe rightfully so, they're with a financial advisor or somebody like that. But if you really want to be proactive, you don't have to do it with all of your retirement account. But if you
Right.
wanted to utilize some and say, hey, I follow this cryptocurrency thing. As we're recording this, Bitcoin is on a bit of a dip right now. Maybe I want to invest in that with
Time
my
to
retirement
buy.
account. How do I do that? So, you know, that's where being able to do this on your own and get into asset classes that, your financial advisor might not be in, but maybe you are. Or maybe you're at least interested in and follow, and you're like, hey, maybe I want to try to do a little bit of this on my own. We can give you the tools to do that.
Okay. And now you mentioned Roth IRA, a solo 401k. Can I
Mhm.
use this if I'm a W-2 and I have a 401k?
So great question. And so if it's with your current employer, most likely you're not able to move that out to an IRA, whether that's an IRA at a brokerage house or an IRA with somebody like me into a self-directed IRA. Um, some plans, while you're still working for the company, they do allow what's called an in-plan rollover, meaning you can move it out while you're still with that company. But most of the time, I'm dealing with people that have a 401k from a prior employer, and they're able to roll
Mm,
that over, or they have an old 401k that they rolled over to a Fidelity or Schwab IRA, and then they
hmm.
can transfer those funds over to like a traditional or Roth IRA. I
Okay.
bring up the solo 401k a lot. A solo 401k is a 401k plan for a self-employed individual that doesn't have any full-time W-2 employees besides themselves and possibly a spouse. A spouse
Hmm.
still falls under that umbrella, and there's some big benefits, especially for real estate investing, for having a solo 401k versus an IRA and even a SEP IRA. There's some advantages over a SEP IRA, which some of you might have heard of. It's also an IRA for self-employed people that allows them to contribute a bit more. But there's some benefits of the solo 401k over the SEP, and there's some reasons to use the SEP.
Okay. And you mentioned you're not a wealth advisor. Do you, can you talk to your wealth advisor about this? Do wealth advisors advise on this?
Sometimes, a lot of times no, but a lot of times, they get a client that says, hey, I really want to invest in this private business that, these former employees of mine or some friends of mine are going into. How can I do that? And a lot of them know that they can't handle that if the client wants to use IRA money. They might be able to advise them if they're using personal funds, but, the big brokerage houses, they don't want to hold these non-publicly traded investments inside of an IRA. The record keeping gets a little murky, and it's just not their business model.
Right.
And so that's where we can come in and supplement the financial advisor. I'd say most of my clients, they have a financial advisors, and they have a little chunk with somebody like myself, so they can do these outside of investments and keep those other funds, that's in the stock market, etc., with their financial advisor to manage.
Okay. And can you give us an example of like a client that you worked with and how you helped them?
Yeah, so I've had many clients that, uh, you know, I, I kind of got into this space because I have a real estate lending background. And
Okay.
so I knew a lot of people in the real estate space. I've been doing the real estate space here in San Diego since 2002. And, a lot of people, especially when fixes and flips were going really big in the late 2000s and early 2010s. How do I get into this? And I said, do you know somebody that's doing fix and flips? Do you know any hard money lenders? Perhaps I can introduce you to some people at these networking groups that I go to that do that, and I can walk you through how you do that inside of an IRA. So, um, for example, there's a few hard money lenders that I know in town, and a lot of times I'll be like, hey, I have this, friend of mine, potential investor wants to invest with me. Can you show them how it works? And so I'll generally get on the phone with this person and say, hey, you open up an IRA with me online. I work with you on moving those retirement funds wherever you currently have them over to this IRA with me, and I'll walk you through all the steps needed to go through the process. Uh, and a lot of times it's people I meet through networking that aren't even involved. They're like, oh, I have a friend that does these private investments. I can do that with my IRA. And then it kind of tickles them in the back of their brain. And I don't hear
Yeah.
from them for maybe 6 months, 9 months, a year. And then they're like, oh, I think I get it now. I want to try this out. So I think the biggest thing of what I do is educating people. And then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times what happens, especially the people that are entrepreneurs or they're self-employed and they're in this solo 401k scenario, I get on the phone with them and their CPA and I walk
Mm-hmm.
them through the process and make sure that their whole team's on board. Make sure their CPA knows what they're doing and they're not just running amok on their own, and make sure all the advisors in their life know what they're doing. But I help them just go through the process, educate them on how it works, go through some of the minuses, because sometimes for real estate investing, for example, somebody's going to buy a rental property. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that buy rental properties, they do it. They're getting all these tax write-offs. Like, well, you're not going to
Oh,
get the
yeah.
tax write-offs in a tax-deferred or tax-free vehicle. This is just
Right.
another asset class to invest in with those retirement funds. So you want to go over all the pluses and negatives with them. And, one of the bigger ones is people think that they can use this money for their own business. And you got to be, no, you have to keep it separate from your own business because there's rules about self-dealing in retirement accounts and these rules about what they call prohibited transactions. And that's typically when your IRA gets involved with yourself or one of those family members I discussed.
Got it. So you can't take your self-directed 401k, for example, and invest it back into your own business or into a family business.
Correct.
Okay.
That is
All
correct.
right.
Yeah.
All
Now, with
right.
the solo 401k versus an IRA, like most people are familiar with a 401k with their employer, you can actually loan yourself money from a solo 401k like you can an employer-sponsored 401k
Oh,
plan and use that for your business. But
okay.
that's not inside the account. That's just a feature similar to what 401k plans allow, where IRAs don't have that feature.
Okay. Oh, very cool. Is
Mhm.
there, so we've talked about investing in real estate. What's the most interesting thing you've seen someone invest in?
I've seen people invest in oil and gas ventures, solar ventures, investing in private bankrupt stocks called stock warrants. I've seen people that very frequently invest in these vehicles called safes, which are essentially it's a business loan for future equity in the business. And so
Okay.
it's like a convertible note. So you're loaning somebody money with the chance of converting that note to private stock later. And
Okay.
then obviously cryptocurrency when those were first available on our platform and other platforms. But, I've had people invest in no, what was it? Cattle farms in Costa Rica was one of the most obscure ones I remember seeing. Uh,
Huh.
and
That's
just,
a interesting
yeah,
one.
it's not what I see typically. Typically,
Yeah.
it's, investments in private companies like startup companies, raising private capital. It's investments in real estate, whether that's lending, buying a rental property or investing in a syndication, which is like a real estate fund, kind of like a private REIT.
Hmm.
That's mostly what I see, along with cryptocurrency and even some precious metals. My background isn't with precious metals as much as the real estate and the private business side of it, but there are a lot of people out there. You've probably seen the ads on TV. Invest in metals in your IRA. We do that too. That's just not been my primary focus.
Got it. And what happens, let's say, if you do invest in not precious metals, but like a fix and flip, and it goes
Yeah.
south? Like, what happens?
Well, that depends. So most of the time when people are they're using their money as a lender on a fix and flip, they're securing it by a trust deed or a mortgage, depending on what state they're in. And so
Okay.
a lot of times they're just kind of underwriting it like a lender. So I did real estate loans from 2002 to 2007, so I'm familiar with that space. But there's a educational component there, knowing you don't want to lend more than they could pay back if you have to foreclose on the property, because that would
Hmm.
be the avenue you would explore. Now, if you're the person doing the fix and flip in your IRA, then it's a little different. You need to make sure you'll have enough funds to pay the contractors to do the work and be able
Right.
to make any payments to keep the property afloat while you're looking to find a seller. So it really depends what side of the coin you come in on, most of the time, it's people using their money as the lender in those scenarios that I see.
Got it. Okay. One last question. How do you invest in crypto? Like, how does that work?
Great question. So the custodian I work with on our platform, when you open up an account online, they have an API set up with Coinbase. So Coinbase is
Okay.
the biggest platform out there in America, at least, that holds cryptocurrency. So if people log into their IRA with me online, the hit a button on their account that says invest, and then there'll be an option for cryptocurrency. And they'll go to that cryptocurrency, and there's a drop down box of every cryptocurrency that's on Coinbase's platform. And they can choose to invest in it directly right there in their account. And they can do that 24/7 in their account with us online.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. That's interesting. So they're basically, they can manage it through Coinbase. They're just funding it through.
So, so basically, I am not a tech guy. I'm not going to pretend to be, but an API is a tech term of basically our company and Coinbase have kind of a
Okay.
connection on the back end of our system. And so they log in through our account, but it has everything that Coinbase has on their account because our system is set up in the background with Coinbase so that
Got
they're
it.
investing through Coinbase, but on our custodian's platform through their operating account.
Got it. Okay. And then how is the reporting? Is it similar to like you get a monthly, quarterly reports, from your 401k provider or if you're with
Right.
Schwab or whoever?
Yeah, great question. So we have in our documents tab, we create an online account statement for the client every month. And so they have those all in their access to their account 24/7 online in their account every month. Just like Fidelity's and Schwab's of the world, we report a tax form to the IRS every year called a 5498. It basically
Hmm.
just is a one-page document allowing the IRS to know the value of their accounts. Clients have access to that. If clients take any distributions from their account, we provide them a 1099 to 1099-R for retirement, and they have access to
Mm,
that as well. So all the normal tax reporting that you would get at a brokerage IRA, it's the same here. It's just will allow you to hold these different asset classes, and an independent representative like myself will help walk you through the whole process there while opening the account, moving money to the account with us, and going through those different investments.
okay. Wonderful. I love it. Well, as we're wrapping up here, what would be your best advice on somebody if they do want to explore this option and learn a little bit more?
Yeah, reach out to me, Brian at Independent IRA. Check out my website, independentira.com, or even give me a call on my office line, 619-432-4555, and I can kind of tell you where to start. And, just know that it's just a conversation at that point. Like I said, most people that I start talking to about it really don't make a move for 6 months, 9 months, a year, unless they're coming to me from an investment source already that they want to invest in. And
Got
so,
it.
I can help walk people down the educational pathway and learn about it.
Okay, that's awesome. So if I found like an opportunity, I could bring that to you. You can help me figure out how to
Exactly.
invest in it. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, I have done this self-directed, and I've worked actually a former wealth advisor. He helped me with that, and then when I tried to do it with another very large organization, I won't name them, I got no help. So that was super disappointing. So I want to say I love that you are walking people through it because it's not easy. You definitely have to understand, and good advice too about talking with your CPA and understanding like
Hmm.
what are the advantages and disadvantages. So, because it is still a risk, right, of
Yeah.
any type of
Exactly.
investment.
Any
Yeah,
investment is a risk. And again, I'm not a financial advisor or investment advisor, but I help people walk through if they want to do it themselves. That's why we use the term self-directed, as people that want to do this themselves. But, like I said, most of my clients, they have that financial advisor and they want to do some stuff on their own and some of these other asset classes that they know. And that's what I'm here to help walk them through.
Cool. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for sharing. I think this is a really cool opportunity, especially if you're a solopreneur, you have a solo 401k, or yeah, with the Roth IRA, and you're looking
Right.
to, yeah, do something a little bit more proactive. You have a little more control. So I love this idea.
Yeah. Well,
All
thanks
right.
again for having me, Rebel. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. We'll put all your contact info in the show notes. And everybody out there, if you are looking to invest maybe in AI for your own business, you can't use a self-directed 401k, but we can help you at least set up some AI tools and learn a little bit more about it. And yeah, thanks for watching the show.